Over the past 5 years of teaching beginners how to ride, here's 5 of the most common things I see that will help you avoid their mistakes and help you learn to ride a motorcycle that much quicker and safer. One of the most common errors I see as a full-time teacher is students riding around with their head looking down, either at their gauge here, down at the ground, at their controls. You want to keep your head and eyes up, aiming towards the horizon line, looking where you want to go, pointing your nose where you want to take your motorcycle. That'll not only help you stay balanced, it'll give you more confidence being able to see the world around you. Another huge mistake I see beginners making is their posture on their motorcycle. If you're riding around all slumped over, or even if you're nice and tight way up here like this, that's not a good idea. You want to get your shoulders nice and relaxed, get your back nice and straight, head and eyes up. You want your arms bent, forearms ideally parallel with the ground. You don't want any weight on your arms and hands up here on your controls. You want to be nice and light, able to use your controls accurately, precisely, and with minimal effort up here. You want to engage your core, keep your legs and knees tight to your gas tank, and the balls of your feet on your foot pegs. That'll help you have good control of your bike and be one with the machine. Speaking of keeping the balls of your feet on your foot pegs, another big mistake I see beginners making is not resetting their hands and their feet when they're done using their controls. So a great example of this is you're cruising around, you need to slow down, so you reach for your front brake, squeeze it in, reduce your speed, then you leave that hand out there covering that brake as you're riding along. This is a bad idea for beginners because if you panic, you might squeeze that front brake and might have a abrupt braking situation, end up in a skid, get you into some trouble. So when you're done using that front brake, you can return 4 fingers around your hand grip, around your throttle here, and then open it up again if you need it, then return it back to the control. Same thing with your feet. If you're using that rear brake with your foot, then you want to shift the ball of your foot back to your peg or bring your foot back so you're not leaving your toes, your foot out there on top of that rear brake. A lot of beginner riders don't even realize they're actually pressing some pressure down on that rear brake pedal as they're riding around, and they're activating that rear brake, even just a little bit, but it can still get you into some trouble. Speaking of using our hands on our motorcycle, another huge tip that'll help you out in learning to ride and save you a whole bunch of frustration and torment and trouble is slowing down your left hand. A lot of riders that I see are trying to rush the process of easing out your clutch lever, finding that friction zone, then coordinating some throttle and clutch release to get you moving. I'll see them get into the friction zone, start to add just a little blip of gas, and then try to launch or rush that left hand and let that lever out all the way. This is going to result in your motorcycle stalling on you about 99% of the time. So instead, you want to take your time with this left hand, ease your clutch out nice and smooth and slow. Once you enter the friction zone, you'll feel the motorcycle start to move forward. You can hold your left hand there, allow the bike to begin to move. Now you can start to add a little bit of gas with your throttle and hold it consistent and steady as you continue to ease your clutch out nice and smoothly. So slow this left hand down, don't rush it. Another huge tip that you should be doing on your motorcycle and that could potentially save your life is practicing your braking and swerving techniques. These are 2 life-saving skills that you can never be too good at. So practice them over and over and over. Find an empty parking lot, practice your braking, use that threshold braking, try to stop your bike in the shortest distance possible, get really, really good at it, and then practice 1,000 times more and get even better. Practice it daily, practice it hourly, practice as much as you possibly can, because when you're out on the road and something jumps out in front of you, you're going to need that muscle memory ingrained to be able to use those controls properly, stop your bike in the shortest distance. The same is true for swerving. If you don't have the option to stop, if it's not going to solve the problem, if you're still going to make contact, you don't want to rely on the braking and still end up hitting and crashing into something. Instead, you can use a different solution to the problem, as in pushing on your hand grip, causing the bike to swerve, getting around that obstacle in front of you and not impacting it. So practice your swerving techniques, keep your head and eyes up, practice your braking, work on these skills endlessly, over and over, all day long. They can and will save your life one day.